And this is third Thursday. Every third Thursday of the month, we have a special program, which we call Third Thursday. And we talk with the artist who's showing that month, and they can talk about their work. And sometimes we do other things besides that. But I'm here with the two artists that are showing this month, which is Karen Fetchick and Diana Whiteman. Is that right? I did that right. Okay, good. I'm pretty sure I had that right. We're going to talk to Karen first, and then we'll talk to Diana about their work. And I'm glad you can join us. If you hold your questions till the end, you can put them in the chat box, and we'll be able to retrieve them at the end when we get finished. But no questions while we're talking here because we're not set up to do that. Okay? Hello.
Hello.
I see your work. I've known Karen for quite a while, so I've seen her work develop, and I think it's doing a wonderful job of turning a corner, maybe to even more expressive, I guess would be the right word for it. So let's look at some of the work, and I'm going to let her start talking about it, and I'll ask questions as they go along.
All righty. Well, this body of work actually, these first two pieces are kind of an introduction into the body that is on this wall here. And they're all mixed media collage. The first two pieces that we were looking at were, they were on paper, and they are pastel and collage papers. Usually they're papers that I have in my pile of collected papers. And then I kind of draw and paint into them and just hope that, I'm looking for something that becomes sort of nature oriented somehow. And that's my kind of goal, I guess. So I just pretty much work it until it sort of excites my eye is how I kind of, think about it.
I think one of my favorite pieces, and I will show you more of their work, but happens to be this piece right here. I just think that really holds everything together very well. I also want to point out this piece, which is really great. And I'll let Karen talk about that piece.
Oh, that's just I put a candle in it and water and make a little candle. That's all. It's just kind of a base, it's floating candle, and it has a nature theme.
And in a lot of ways, it reflects the lines.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
forms that you're working with. So
Very true. And that's why I chose that for my, my centerpiece, I should say. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at all the
Okay.
rest of your work.
So this body of work right here, I did all the way over to the back wall. I did together and put them, as you can see, I use similar colors. And the difference between this body and the two up there is these were actually old. I'm a printmaker. So these were prints that when you're editioning prints, you get a lot of, not good ones or failures or whatever you call it. So I saved those. And then because I don't like to throw away paper. So, and I use them for collage or whatever it is later on. And then for my collage material, I tend to, like an example, this one, these are woodcuts that I save, and then I cut them up and tear them and stick them on. Maybe this behind here is a monotype, or some of them were etchings, and I don't use what's underneath it. So the whole goal is to have fun with it, actually, and change it around so that we don't see what's underneath there, and I start cutting and gluing pieces. I rip them off, glue them back on, and I don't use an image to look at. They just come out of my imagination. So that's why the title of the show is Familiar Spaces, because as I keep working, I want to say then things start to come together when it starts to become familiar to me. So then I know that, there's a landscape, there's water, there's, sky, there's mountains.
Peg wants to know what kind of glue you use.
Matte medium. And all of the paper that I use is acid-free. They're all quality printmaking paper. I don't use newspaper or anything that will turn colors, so. And the matte medium can be tricky. I mean, you have to actually hold it on there, if it's a thicker paper. So I have things that I kind of put the glue on and then set them, and then I rip them off if I don't like it. Then I start to draw into it. And in this case, I used, this is the first time I've used these. These are aqua crayons and aqua pencils. And that's it.
What's an aqua?
You can use a brush and make it watery, and so the aqua crayon and aqua pencil.
Aqua water.
Yes. But I didn't use water. I just used them as crayons and pencils. I could have.
You could
But-
have used wine.
So,
I just want to comment that I see the same, I see that this.
yes. Yep.
this,
Yeah.
This.
Right.
And this, we're all from the same.
Correct.
Yeah,
And this group right here, I consider a triptych because I work these all together.
right.
This group right here. And you're right, I did use the wood cuts in the
Yeah.
same process for this group right here. The smaller pieces, I just, I don't know, I just started to draw and color and then glue and just hope, making space in there, making movement. And I love working with color. So it just kind of becomes something. Oh, that's from, actually, that one is from a series that I had done that I had in my collection. And I just said, oh, I think I'm going to use this for collage. It just felt like it needed to be in this group. I don't know why, but I did the same process with that group. And that's a figurative group.
Should we catch the ones in the- I think we can get questions at the end.
Okay, all right.
We got a
And-
question from Peg.
Okay.
She typed it in. Remember?
Good,
what kind of
yes,
group?
yeah,
So that
right.
was it.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah, can you
And if
type it?
anybody else has any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Yeah, they can type it in.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. I don't think you hear me say that.
Some of these become, I don't know what the viewer sees, but to me, I find landscapes, I find fields, I find trees, I find bodies of water, rocks. And that's how they end up becoming finished. There is a finishing point. It's not just kind of willy-nilly, So I know when they're finished.
I just want to reiterate that if you have a question, put it in the chat box and we'll be sure to get it so Karen can answer it. And these are two that are on the back wall. They have a little bit of a different feel to
They
them, I
do,
think. Yeah.
yes, they do. Actually, these were some of the first two that I had done. Yeah, and these, I didn't know where I was going with these, so actually they're all experimental. They kind of evolved. And as I said, I don't have anything visual that I'm looking at. So they just come as I make them, they become a space. And that's what my goal was, to become a space and maybe a place I've been or
I especially
Okay.
like this piece.
Joy McMicken,
what's that?
Joy McMicken asked a question, but I didn't,
Okay.
it wasn't on long enough to read it.
Oh,
Put the question back on again so we can read it, please.
I don't know how to do that.
So I'll read the question for you. It says,
Well,
do you-
while we're waiting for the question to come back.
Okay, do you
I'll-
start with an idea in mind or I can't see the rest of it.
the
Yeah.
painting let you
No,
know what it
actually,
wants?
no, I don't. I don't start with an idea at all. It's all about color and shape and balance and space, so whatever kind of visually makes sense to my eye, it just comes from, pardon me?
The principles of art.
Yeah,
Color,
right.
yeah.
right, exactly. And it kind of frees me up in a lot of ways too, to kind of explore those, the color, what colors really work well next to each other, what shapes balance each other, what how will this create distance or depth? And that's kind of how it works. This isn't the only way I work, but I tend to like this way the best because it's kind of freeing. It helps me move on to the next step, which the next process is what I would, how to describe it.
Are there any more questions that people want to ask? Ask now while we're all here together and get your questions answered by the artist. Write it in the chat box and it'll be forwarded to us.
So I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? No.
Was that part? Oh, that was the only, yeah. The figure piece was
They
the
don't
only
have-
piece that I had initially. I was working from a photograph. Yeah. That was the only out of the group. And that was from another group that I had done, another body of work. That had- Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I had done a show a number of years ago that was a Native American theme, and that was part of the group. So somehow it seemed to fit in with the colors and the style.
I have questions here. I can see the questions here. So,
Oh, okay.
the figurative group, was that part of your women dancer series?
No,
Several
that
years?
was, oh, okay, no, that was.
Your work.
No, actually, that was not. That was part of a Native Americans group body work that I had done a number of years ago.
Here we have a good question for you. If this artwork could dance, what song would it be dancing to?
Oh, gosh.
This sounds like a SAT question.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's a tough one. Oh, my gosh. Probably, what did you say? Oh, my gosh. I have to think about that one.
What do we think? What do you think? Whoever asked the question, what do you think? Yeah. No, it isn't. Yeah.
Something definitely,
Do you have a favorite artist?
oh, I don't have a favorite, but I love, oh gosh. I love Gauguin. I love, I don't know. I love Diebenkorn. I love,
I can see David.
yeah. Geez, I don't know. I have so many. I love Sheila. I love Egon Sheila. I would say, and I love I love the gallery artists too. I get inspiration from everyone in the gallery.
I see people waltzing.
I'm hoping that this is a little bit more of a calming kind of a body of work for me, a little bit more introspective
Mhm.
and not as wild, as some of the other things, maybe a little less movement. So I don't know. I just wanted it to be a little bit more maybe introspective. Okay. All right.
Do we have any more questions before Karen leaves us? Can we go to Diana? Okay, going once.
Okay.
going
Thank you.
twice. Thank you, Karen,
Okay.
very much. Wonderful show. Okay, then we will now go to our next artist, which is Diana Whiteman. Hi. Hello, Diana. How are you?
Good, how are you? Do you want me to hold this?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay.
I just, yeah. I would like to start here and go here because I want to save what I consider to be the most dynamic piece to last.
Okay,
All right, if that's
Sure.
okay with you. So let's start over here with your work.
around the
okay?
corner?
No, but
This
you have work around the corner?
Yep, there's one around the corner.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you haven't seen that one.
Oh, I would have done-
Yep, starts here.
Yeah, let's start here.
It's kind of dark here, but
Yeah, we'll see what we can do about that. Getting some
It's right
light on?
behind what looks
I got it.
Which one?
So just.
there, that's better.
There we go.
That's better.
All right. Okay, well, I hadn't seen the show until recently, and I was blown away by the images, to be quite frank with you.
Stefan wants to know what the title is to this piece.
The title to that is Roses and the Barn Shadow.
Ooh. Ooh, very nice. This painting can conjure up all kinds of thoughts and images of what you need to talk about this piece to us. Tell us what's
Okay.
going on here.
Well, I'm really curious to see what kind of things you have to say about it. Is that a cop out?
Maybe. Well, first-
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about
Okay.
it. Okay, so this is kind of semi-autobiographical, though very abstractly. So the two figures with the rainbow faces are kind of like a mother and daughter or a older sister, younger sister. And the figure in the barn is holding up something which is kind of like an eye and turning away. So just kind of exploring, like, I don't know how to put it. So the figure in the barn is kind of just looking and judging and not
Okay.
engaged with the other two figures. And the two figures are kind of together, and the one is kind of guiding the younger one.
Is the figure in the barn a male figure?
No, actually.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
kind of, it's a genderless figure.
Genderless figure, okay, fine. I thought maybe, I was reading more into it than perhaps I
Yeah,
should have
it's-
been, yes.
Yeah.
I want to comment that I think the patterns that you're working with really just vibrate. I can see them kind of going in and out
Mhm.
kind of thing. So that's really pretty fascinating. And are these acrylic? They're oils? What are
Yep, they're acrylic.
they? Acrylic. yeah.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Well, that starts off our little John here. Let's see what
Okay.
else you have, because now I'm seeing where you're coming from.
Okay.
Yeah,
They don't all have that kind of theme.
okay. But they all have some interesting story to tell us, or interesting story for us to make up with it. So I just want to make one comment about this piece. It is so three-dimensional, which I think a lot of your work is.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to come over here and make sure that it wasn't puffed out,
Ah.
because that's what I saw it being. So,
Oh,
yeah. So talk
Okay.
us about this piece.
well,
Is it organic?
it's organic.
Yes.
Yes, mostly it's all organic, although the rocks are, I guess you call that organic also. So it's kind of like inside the body.
Oh, Stefan wants to know the title.
The title of that is Pink Dandelions. Because Pink
dandelion.
dandelions, which are here in the corner, and they do actually exist. They're
I love the
a
dandelions.
rare kind of dandelion. So I was just kind of trying to make a dynamic kind of an image. The background is kind of nerve
Yeah,
cells, neurons.
neurons firing in the brain.
Yeah,
Do you have a medical background of any kind? Because I see a
I
lot of things that.
don't. I mean, well, what I do for my job, I do kind of, I'm not hands-on, but I do kind of familiar with some medical terms. But really, I just am interested in the shapes and
looks like-
patterns.
Yeah, and I saw that before you even commented on it. I saw a
Mhm.
lot of internal organ things
Yes.
happening.
Mhm.
And, yeah. And this piece right here is, I can see a parallel or something, similarity between them.
Yep, those are, it's kind of like a microscopic view of blood cells. So, it's kind of a progression of, on the one side, the smaller cells and then the larger plant and then the other side, the other one's the opposite. So I was just interested in the shapes of the blood cells, and
Okay, Stefan is asking what the title is again.
the title is Creeping Charlie,
Ooh,
which is the name of that plant, which is a very common, I guess you'd call it, weed that grows everywhere. Also called ground ivy, I think. It just kind of grows everywhere. It spreads and people are usually trying to get rid of it from their garden.
It also conjures up all kind of creeping Charlie.
Yeah.
Conjures up all kinds of things you could do with that.
Hmm,
And although I know you're not making any references to eyes,
Yeah.
we do see all these things looking at us.
I know, they do, they do look like eyes, I agree.
You know.
Mhm,
And I love the colors.
Thank
I'll say
you.
you're doing a lot of things with colors that really, really fascinates me. And here we have something which has got a figure in it,
Right,
and I will answer Stefan's question.
Stefan
Okay.
has another question. He wants to
Okay.
know, is it a diptych?
yes,
Yes.
yes, it is.
How do I get there from here?
Right,
How do I get there from here? That's her question.
right.
She looks a little confused. She believes that.
Well, that's just kind of like my resting expression, which is confused. So, yeah, so it's, it's a figure inside, kind of a formal interior. And then outside is Monument Valley, which I think is in Utah. I'm not sure. I've never actually been there, but I've seen pictures and I've been out west and I've always been interested in going there.
Okay. Now I see a reflection of this and one of the first pieces we looked at. This is internal. This is a,
Yeah, so the background is based on onion skin cells under a microscope, which, are very like geometric and a regular kind of a pattern. And then there's the more,
again,
I guess you'd call it animal or they're both organic, so I don't know how to really differentiate, but something more internal, maybe with the body and movement, as opposed to the stationary
Stefan,
cells.
Why the diptych?
Well, it kind of progresses from one to the other. The first one is kind of more wild and kind of like a beginning. And then it goes to the second one, which is kind of more of everything kind of comes together in the shape.
I thought they were fish scales.
Well,
You know,
okay,
That's a kind of a very.
They do
similar
kind of
thing,
look like
yeah,
that.
right, yeah. But they're moving.
Or snake
also, a
skin.
lot of motion in this,
yeah. Mhm.
And again, I want to feel this to make sure you didn't really, it's not puffed out like.
The eyes are sinking in. I know. Yeah.
Yep.
You could stick your finger right in.
Yeah. Yep.
He wants to know what the title is.
The title is untitled.
Reminds me of Hubert.
Yes, you are not the first person who said that.
Stephanie.
Yep. That was not intentional, but I can see that. Sure.
I also, the same thing, this dimension that you're doing is fantastic. Because I swear I could put my hand right through that.
Mhm.
But I can, look, I'll prove to you I can't do that. So
Yes.
That's living proof that. I also thought each one of these things were roped out.
Yes.
And so you-
They're kind of like stitches.
Yeah,
Yep. And the red part is kind of like fabric and kind of like skin.
I'm just going to joke with you, but do you see a psychiatrist? It's a joke.
No comment.
Approximately how long did it take?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. It's really hard to say because I work during the week. So I would mainly be working on the weekends. Probably, it took me probably several months.
I really love that, right? The vine on the right.
Yep.
And I don't know if you're picking it up at home, but these things really,
The berries.
the berries just really make it, it's a wonderful touch.
Mhm.
What part did you start with? Stefan wants to know.
I started with the rocks on the bottom.
Really?
Mhm.
Interesting. And did it grow itself or did you have a pretty good outline of this? Did you sketch this out on paper first?
I had an outline of what the composition would be and the basic shapes. But I don't even remember what my original idea for the background was,
Yeah.
but I know that wasn't it. I know I wanted to have an opening with that shape. And I don't remember exactly, I think I saw a cloud or I saw something with that shape that I liked. And I drew it and then I made that to be the shape for the opening.
Stephanie says the sky is nice. And Joy said it was a nice expression. I can't remember her exact
I don't
words.
have my computer.
Okay,
It was a compliment.
thank you.
Go to the next one.
Sure.
Well, we're in the woods now.
Yes.
We're in the woods and we see some deer here
Yep.
and some very interesting trees and there's a path that's taking me someplace.
Mhm.
Okay, Stefan wants to know what artist influenced you the most?
Oh, gosh. That is really difficult to say. Maybe like Frida Kahlo or something. I do like Gauguin also, and some of the fauve artists. Romerio Spado. Some mostly surrealists from the
I can't think of-
20s, 30s. I don't remember
I
when it
can't think
was.
of the famous.
Yeah.
surrealist. I can't think of his
Well,
name.
there was Salvador Dali,
Yeah,
of course,
Couldn't think of his name.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think this deer is just staring me down.
Mhm.
Oh, Stefan wants to know the title Barbrook to everyone, great sense of depth in its painting.
Thank you.
Yeah, the depth is. amazing.
So the title is Mount St. Francis, which is behind my parents' house. There's a hermitage where monks live. And there's deer up there and there's kind of like a steep hill that would to go up this, and there's a pond. So it's kind of loosely based on that place.
I also see these trees as being, getting ready to walk away. Like, they're starting to, this one in particular.
Yeah, it looks like it has arms, right?
It's coming right off the thing.
Stefan wants to know what part did you start with?
I think I started with the ground and then the trees and then the deer and then the pond, I think.
Okay. Now this one's really, you're taking it one step further here, this one.
This was actually one of the earlier ones. So
Really?
I went from being weird to being a little less weird, maybe.
Okay. I think though, like the first one we looked at, what's happening with all this, chances you that is just fantastic.
This one harkens back to the first one.
Yes, they were
Yeah,
done about the
yeah.
same time.
Yeah,
Yep.
wow. And you laid that out first as in a sketchbook or?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like she busted, right? And that's the,
Yeah, I wanted the figures and the main mother type figure in the middle.
I don't know if you can see it, but these have got holes in them.
Some of them do.
They're looking right straight through to,
Stefan wants to know, what is the purpose of this?
What is the
Wow.
purpose of this?
To illustrate something from life, he's asking.
Yes, this one is very personal. It's kind of, well, there's 6 different little girls. So I kind of, at the time, was thinking about different aspects of me and kind of distilled them into little characters with their own little symbols and things. So the big one is just kind of embracing all of them, and you know, some of them are difficult, or you know.
I see
Not-
some symbols here. We have
Yeah.
music,
Mhm.
fire,
Kind of like fire, yeah.
sun. No,
Is that an apple?
That is not an apple, no. That is, well, it's kind of like something being eaten.
okay.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole world.
That is actually supposed to be a lapis
Lapis.
stone.
Oh,
that
okay.
is-
Yeah. Yep.
And as long as we've gone this far,
Yes.
tell us about the rest of it. Or not.
I don't exactly remember because I did this a long time ago. I know the very last one is kind of a girl who's kind of,
She's carrying flowers.
she's carrying flowers, she's carrying wildflowers. So she's kind of like
Joy thinks.
well, Joy, since you said Joy, she's kind of like the joyful one.
Oh.
Yeah,
Joy said everyone will, it will have a different meaning. to
Yes.
everyone. And
Yes.
Stefan said something, but I didn't catch it. Are you school trained? Stefan wants to know.
I did take art classes in college, yes.
Can you
That
talk
was a long
about-
time ago.
Talk a bit about your start as, I think probably since an artist.
Okay. Well, I've always been interested in art. I actually did sculpture mostly when I was in college. And then many years went by and I started seeing someone who was an artist, who was a painter. And I started drawing a lot, and it was kind of like for fun at first. I was just kind of fooling around, making weird characters and things. And then I just started trying to make actual paintings and thinking about composition. And I had a studio to work in, so there's plenty of space and just art everywhere. So I found that I had a lot of ideas. So I just, you know, got more excited about it as I did more.
Okay. We're back-
Okay,
We're back to cutting through to the world. to the
Yes.
Sky.
Mhm.
Uh, And I'm
Any
gonna walk. right up
comments?
there. I'm gonna walk right up there.
Stefan wants to know the
the title is Black Raspberries, which you will see in the top.
Oh, I'm
Left
Oh, yeah,
corner.
yeah,
Yep.
Missed that.
Yep.
Yeah. And these are kind of broken away from.
Those are rocks.
Mhm.
They do not really appear to be rocks as I'm looking at them now. They look more like wood chips, but they were intended to be rocks or some kind of organic material
Yeah.
like that.
And I have the feeling, I could be totally wrong, but this wants to zipper together.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes,
thought.
yeah, those are kind of like Yeah, they're kind of like buttonholes,
Yeah.
I guess, because there's like a reflection of each on either side.
Joyce it looks like you found your niche.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Good observation, Joy. Yeah. I can't wait to see the next piece. because
Okay,
We've changed a lot. Is
okay.
this a recent piece? Or
No.
is this an old piece?
This is an old
Wow.
piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, do people here, I'm gonna stand here and get a scale. So you can see the scale of the piece. I also have to do this. I thought maybe something was gonna happen when I turned it over,
Nope.
but
Stephanie says she likes the moon.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
so where was your head when you did this?
Well, I did that in my senior year of college and I had to do a project and I had these colored inks. And I would just sit down every night and kind of just take them out. I had these, I made little squares
Uh-huh.
ahead of time and just kind of see where it took me with each one.
Now that you've said that, I thought this might have been one of your later pieces.
Oh.
But now I see that, I can see how this led to some of the images that we've seen
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
thought that this one, hasn't really been seen for 20 odd years. So I thought it worked with some of the more recent
Absolutely,
ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like that there's cells that will come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And you said you used to do sculpture,
Yeah,
and this is very sculptural.
it
This
is. Yep.
As much sculpture as it is two-dimensional.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a handsome piece.
Thank
Really
you.
like it, yeah. So what is your most recent piece? That was, we're talking about. history of your
Most recent is probably this one. Creeping Charlie
Okay.
is the most
right,
recent one.
Right, okay. And I see some parallels between the individual cells there
Mhm.
and your individual little blocks over there also. So
Yeah.
now that I'm saying that, I'm looking and I'm seeing I'm seeing them they're happening all over the place. My goodness. Get individual cells there. What I called the fish scales, which you said were onion
Onion skin.
skin.
Yes.
I see that being a reoccurring
Mhm.
piece.
So Sleeping Charlie is very invasive.
Yes, it is. That's true.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I wanted to use it because, people see it as something invasive to get rid of. That's annoying and that's a pest. But I still like it. Of course, I don't have to get rid of it, so I can just look at it. But
Stephanie wants to know if it's a metaphor for cancer.
no, it is
Ooh.
not. No, it is not.
Ooh,
Although I could see how you could definitely
yeah.
get that idea, but no, it is not.
Right. Right.
Oh, that's Peg's question. Wasn't Stephanie's.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think what you're doing is fantastic. I've not really seen a body of your work until now.
No.
Body of work until now. And I can see now how one thing led to the next, led to the next, led to the next. And I mean, if this is your last piece. I'm interested to see where that's going to take you.
Yeah.
Are you working on anything right now?
I had something that I started about a year ago that I kind of put aside. I'm thinking of picking that up again. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. And I'm going to ask a personal, but has being part of the gallery influenced your work at all? Say yes.
Yes, of course. I'm very inspired by fellow artists.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good to hear. Are there any more questions?
Oh, we're talking about chickens.
Chickens?
Why do you not price them like Johnson?
Well, I kind of just don't think of them as things to sell. I just don't think of it. I just don't think about it that way. I guess that I should.
Do you
Um,
have them all up in your house or your?
No. No. Yeah, it has been suggested to me to price them,
Mhm.
but
The time will come.
the time will come. Yep. For now, I'm just making them and seeing what happens.
Well, the show will be up until, where are we now, the show? When does it come down? Do you?
The 27th is the last day.
The 27th of August.
Mhm.
So if you haven't been down to see it, I strongly recommend that you get down. Yes, we have some construction going on outside the gallery, but that doesn't stop people from coming. We want you to come. So, this is the last formal thing we'll be doing, isn't it? You're not having a closing or anything.
I don't believe so.
Okay, right. So get down while you can and see what we have here.
This is great job.
Okay. All right. Well, that's about it then. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
And I'm
you.
so glad you joined us. That's
Yes,
a
thank
nice thing. Yeah. Okay. Over and out. Bye-bye.